Hmm. All right. How's everybody doing today? Good morning from Mexico. Jean Paul, welcome. We got a couple people in Mexico. Welcome.
Welcome, bro.
Where in Mexico are you at?
I'm about 20 minutes from the border south, called Playas de Tijuana.
Ah, I had some good times in Tijuana. When on my 21st birthday, we took across the border from San Diego,
There you
went,
go.
went through the green light, red light. Back then, I don't know if they still, I don't think they still do it, but back then, if the light was green, you just walk right through. If it's red, you stop, then you get searched.
Yeah, same thing, dude.
Still got it? Still doing that? Very good.
Hell yeah.
I got a crazy story for you guys. I'm not sure if you're ready for it, but yeah, back then, in Tijuana, back then, I was 21, so we're talking about a long time ago. You
What year?
walk, talk 80s, let's see, 16, 78,
Early 80s, late 70s?
89, 1989,
Oh,
approximately.
yeah.
They're selling all kinds of stuff, purses and all that stuff. And there was this guy selling handmade dynamite,
Oh,
hand
yeah.
hand rolled dynamite. So I'm like, well, I want to buy that, but what am I going to do with it? How am I going to get it back in the United States? And he's like, oh, it's easy. You have to buy a purse from my brother over here, like a woman's purse. And they had all these eel skin and snake skin purses, and they were pretty cheap, but they had these secret compartments on them. And then he's like, and then he goes, when you get to the border, wait for the light to turn red, and then as soon as it turns green, you go. I'm like, okay. So of course I was naive and 21 and thought it was cool to get some dynamite. So we did it. I bought it, bought the purse, walked back through into San Diego with no problems, and then had to drive all the way back to Florida because I was only there to help a friend move from California back to Florida from LA.
Oh,
Actually lived in Anaheim, and on the way back, I'm not sure if there's a statute of limitations on this because I might have broke a law here, but on the way back, driving through Texas, I was lighting these little handmade. They're like M80s, but they were like little hand rolled dynamite sticks, basically. I was lighting them and throwing them out the window while I was driving down the road. I probably shouldn't admit this, but this is just a story, guys. Didn't really happen, but yeah. And my friend, I was driving my friend's car, and they were in a moving truck behind us. And it take a whole day to get through Texas, driving from California to Florida. So you're out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. So nobody got hurt. But when I got back home, I was at a friend's party, and I had one of these things left, and I put it in the mailbox, and I was laughing. I was like, watch everybody, watch this. And the mailbox literally left the planet. I mean, the mailbox flew up in the air so high that we couldn't see it anymore. And
oh,
of course, the sound was like a nuclear bomb went off in the neighborhood, and all the neighbors came out. Car alarms went off. It was crazy, but yeah, those were the good old days.
I
Yeah,
know those. I know those fake dynamites. They're like little pink ones. They're big, but
yeah, yeah,
they look like old pink paper.
yeah. They make it sound like it's a souvenir that Americans buy and take back home. It's like
They
I
got
don't think
all
it is.
kinds of different sizes.
Yep, yep, yep. Good
Thing.
old days. Those were fun times. Fun times.
Dude, I got stuck in Texas on my birthday one time with a flat tire and I couldn't believe it.
On your way back, driving from California or something.
I was coming from New Orleans. I spent a month down there. I got robbed. I was living out of a van. Somebody stole everything but my only drum kit left. And I'm like, oh, screw this. I'm going back to Colorado. Let's go. And started driving to try to get to my own birthday party in Colorado. Like 12, I don't even remember. It's ridiculous, but I got stuck
Oh yeah, it's
in
a long drive.
Texas. And the guy told me, I was trying to get a drink even at a billiards place. And I said, hey, can I get my tire fixed? He's like, buddy, you're in the middle of nowhere. And I was like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my God. I called my mother. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it took 2.5 days to drive from California to Florida, and one whole day of that was just getting through Texas. It was ridiculous, but yeah. Anyway, guys, let's get the ball rolling here. Thanks for the memories. Let's see here. Silver just dropped to $93. Yeah, guys, we've been talking about this. Don't go buy at the extreme highs. That's what happens. That's when the FOMO kicks in and everybody's out there trying to buy. I think I told you the story the other day where I called my silver broker dealer. Actually, he's a coin dealer. He has a beautiful store here in Bel Air, Florida. I mean, just the craziest, rarest numismatic stuff, all kinds of coins from around the world, solid gold bars, gold, silver bars. I mean, you got armed security guards that get in his store, but he buys, and he normally buys for 1 to 2% below spot. So if the price, for the last couple of years, if the price was $40 for an ounce of silver, he would give you $38, $39, because they got to make some money, right? And they got to wait and all that stuff, and they smelter that stuff, so they got to buy it at a discount. But now he told me, yeah, we're buying 30% below spot, 30% below spot. So if silver's $100, they're paying 70 for it. And there was a line of people to buy and sell in his store, but I'm like, I'm not selling at 30% below spot. And he said the reason why was because all the smelters stopped buying. They put a pause on it because there was a big scam, guys. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I might have mentioned it, but hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fake silver was being sold on the market. So the silver prices,
Yep.
silver prices were hitting all-time highs. They were taking these bars that were kind of hollow in the middle with tungsten. I can't remember what the metal is, but it's very similar weight and properties to silver. And then they would silver plate it with heavy plating. So thick that even if you scratch through it, it's silver, even like centimeters deep, right? But in the middle, it was tungsten or some other metal. I can't remember what it was. And so they were passing off, tens of thousands of pounds of silver as pure silver when it wasn't. So the smelter started to discover this and then stopped buying altogether. And so there's a big problem right now in that whole market. This is all coming out now. Gold, silver drying, dumping a little bit as expected. Nothing goes up in a parabolic move forever without a big consolidation or pullback. And so same with crypto, same with everything else, same with real estate. When we have some kind of price consolidation, that's what happens.
What I heard on the gold and the silver, how we use leverage. The people with the paper were using leverage. They said that the banks bumped up their entry price or whatever up to 33%. So they couldn't make the spread, so they had to force them to sell. That's why it dropped so quickly. That price on gold, if you look at it, the gold and the silver dropped at the same time.
Yeah. Victoria says, after last night's dump, are we more looking like a bear market? Here, I'm going to share my screen right now. We're going to get into it. Just look at some more of these questions here. Money has to flow somewhere, Keith. Yeah, Keith. They drill the blocks, or they drill right into it for gold too, just to make sure that it's solid all the way through. Now they have to do that. Trump announced Fed chair picks. Gold dropped too. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this was the signal from yesterday, the day before yesterday. Let me just go back into the trade signal channel because just wanted to show you where it was up here when I gave that video. This was the 28th. So the day before yesterday at 6 p.m., my cell phone video explaining why I'm going to go short. Right after that, 20 minutes later, I gave the signal, BTC based on my video above. I am now short, a little early, best to wait for the breakout. What I meant was best to wait for the breakout of this upward trending support, but I was already short right here. You can see with 50,000 contracts right before the breakout. I had a feeling it was going to break because these long wicks up were telling me two things. One, they were reaching up to the top of the downward trending channel, but they were also stopping right here on this upward trending support as resistance. So that was basically this right here. Let me just show you what we were looking at. Let me go up to a higher time frame. So we have this line right here, guys, this orange line, which goes all the way back. Let me go up even higher time frame. All the way back to the bear market bottom of last bear market cycle, 15.5 down here. And we've been holding this support line all the way up, 126K, and we came down here and we hit it, boom, went through it and held it as resistance. And then we created a bear flag underneath it, right? We created a bear flag underneath. And so we had two things happening here. We had a bear flag, then we had a bear flag under the major support, retesting it as resistance. So that's not good. First of all, we already fell under the support and we had a bear flag. Breakdown imminent, right? So that's why. And now this is a bigger picture. But if I go down to the lower time frames, in addition to, hold on 1 second, in addition to this giant bear flag underneath the support line here, we were also doing this underneath the support of the bear flag support. So we had the big bear flag underneath this line right here, which is the major support coming from down from the 15.5K, the whole bull market. We were already under that, and we were creating a bear flag, and we just dropped below the bear flag already and retested it, and then dropped down here and created an upward trending channel all the way back up just to retest that. And this is where I gave the signal right here, because I was thinking, okay, we have three things bearish right here, and this just coming up to retest. I mean, if it didn't get back above the 90K right here and hold the support and get back into that bear flag, we're going down. And so that's what happened. We dropped, and I think right down here at about 80,600, which was the low, 80,680 that we hit. I was probably up about $4,500 on this trade. I'm still in it. I moved my stop loss to 84,490. I did move it a little lower and then move it back up, but I'm trying to keep it out of the way for now because, as you can see, and I mentioned that on the live call last night, but we have support. We wicked down to the bottom of the downward trending channel. We have support. We broke through that, hit support here again, and retested this previous support as resistance. We fall all the way down. So just get rid of this. We fall all the way down to the downward trending support. And then we're slowly coming back up and hitting resistance at this support. Boom, 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 boom. And where is it going? Well, it looks like it's going sideways for now. But if it can't get back above this and break out of this, then it's probably going to do this and then come down lower. That's just my thesis on this. And how low can we go? Let's just bring this down, because to me, the breakdown up here and what's going on in the world with gold, silver, everything dumping right now. Anybody got a chart of the S&P 500 and what's going on in the stock market right now? Do we have any dump there as well? Trump was just bragging the other day about how the stock market's at an all-time high, but I have a feeling, guys, that's usually when you see that, that's about time to dump. That's when everything's going down. Not because he said it, but because we're at all-time highs. All-time highs never stay all-time highs. We hit them, don't get me wrong, but then there's always a huge consolidation or pull down. Down 524 right now. Greg says, thank you, BA. Thank you. Liked and commented on your last week's YouTube. Appreciate you. S&P 69. Okay, it's still high, but it is dropping. Okay, 53 points right now. Futures down. S&P futures down 52. All right, so normally it goes down harder and faster than crypto. So if Bitcoin drops 20%, usually the S&P had dropped 40%. Yeah, it seems like Trump, like all the things that Trump is doing, you know, to help the economy, to make things better with tariffs and, you know, possibly getting rid of the Internal Revenue Service and taxes because so much money's coming in from tariffs that people are going to get, you know, they're not going to have to, you know, pay the IRS anymore. All of these positive things and these messages that are being said out there. I mean, zero immigration. There's nobody like zero, not one person, not 20 people, not down from 1,000 to 20 people coming over the border illegally, but zero coming over the border illegally. That's like a first, I think, in history, right? A lot of good things happening. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel for the families. I feel for people trying to flee to a better life. I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to that. That's not the issue. The border czar and the immigration and ICE and all this shit that's going on around the world. It's sad that people are getting hurt in the process of interfering with an agency doing their job. It is sad. I do agree. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be interfering. I understand why they are. They're trying to protect somebody. They're putting themselves in their own peril. So with all that being said, that has nothing to do with my true feelings. I wish nobody would get hurt and everybody would be happy and the immigrants would just be put back in line to do things the legal way. But with all that being said, it seems like a lot of good news and a lot of good things happening, yet the markets are dumping. Pilar says all hype has broken down. NVIDIA can't get over $195 no matter what they announce. Yes, the news just is so one-sided and it's getting worse. Yeah. So with all that being said, why are we dumping? Well, if you take all of that away, guys, if you take all the fundamentals away, you take all the news away, you take all the hype away, the media, the YouTubers, everything away, and you just look at charts. If you just look at the charts, which that's what it's called, technical analysis for a reason. And I will tell you this, some people don't want to admit it, but the big players in the world, the hedge fund traders, they are price action. They look at the charts, okay? And when you look at the charts, you see things. You see cycles, okay? You're seeing repeating patterns. Now, is it going to end? Will the bull market and the bear market cycles end someday? And the answer is probably yes. But have the bull market and bear market cycles ever ended yet in the stock market? Have we had bull markets and bear markets in the stock market since the beginning of time, since 150 years ago? The answer is yes. And so let's just take all these indicators. I have a few up here. I don't keep them on the chart, but I check them every once in a while. And this is what I like to do. I go to the higher time frame, like the weekly or the daily, and we're looking at the big picture here. This right here, where my mouse is the bull market top in 2011. This is the bull market top in 2013. This is the bull market top in 2017. This is the bull market top in 2021. And here we are now in 2025. These are cycles. And all of these dips are bear market bottoms. So we have bear market bottoms. And we have bull market tops. And I don't know if this one is one yet, but this is what I'm seeing right now. And the reason why, and I'll tell you why over here. But the reason why is because it's good to do this is because until proven otherwise, until things change, they have to be the same. So in other words, until the cycles end and we're no longer in bull and bear market cycles, then I'm just going to keep looking at it as a bull and bear market cycle. I have to, because I don't have anything else to go by. Now, there is something that did happen here that has never happened in the history of bull and bear market cycles. And it's easier to see on the 12-month time frame. So if I go to the 12-month time frame, every bull market ends in a green candle. And then we have a bear market. And then we have a bull market top, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, bull market top, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, bull market top, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, bull market top. This candle right here ended red. That's the first time in the history of Bitcoin that the bull market top candle on the third year after the previous bull market. In other words, there's 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, 1 year down. So this is 1, 2, 3 years up, and this candle ended red for the first time in history. They're usually green, green, green. Now, this is only the 4th bull market cycle, so we only have 3 other ones to look at. But that means out of the 4, now we have 75% of the time they end green. It used to be 100% of the time, but now, because of this one, it's 75%. So going forward, the numbers change now. This candle ended red. Now, also, the next candle, the red one, always historically has gone up in January and February, gone up, but it never got higher than the previous one. This is January and February, gone up a little bit, but never got higher than this one. You can see that one goes all the way up to here. This one went up a little bit, but never got higher than that one. This one went up a little bit. You can see a little wick there, but never got higher than this one. And this one is the one we're in now. It has gone up a little bit, but didn't get higher than this one, obviously. And now it's falling down and turning red. So this candle is turning red the way all of these have, but this candle ended red, which has never happened before. Now, why does that matter? Let's go to the lower time frame, back to here again. And we put on the only indicator that has been accurate since the beginning, the Pi cycle indicator, which calls the top of every market. As you can see, since it was created, it wasn't created back here. But as you can see, whenever the green line and the orange line or red line cross, it's a top. Cross back, cross again, top. Cross right here. This is where they come together and boom, cross, top. This is when they come together and cross, top. This time, not only have they not crossed, but they're not even close to crossing. So the top is not in, is what that's saying. That's saying that we haven't seen the top yet for this bull market cycle, which is strange because technically speaking, if you look at history, all of these bull markets ended in November, December, and then January and February of the following year, it started to go down. And here we are. And not every December, but every third year of the bull market, of the bull market top. So, because we go up for 3 years, we go down for 1 year, we go up for 3 years. But it's always at the end of a bull market, which would be technically the end of this past year, December 31st. So why? So this is a very positive indicator and has been accurate since the beginning, calling the tops that is not yet called the top, which could mean that we still have a big parabolic move possible to the upside. And what would have to happen for that to happen is all of the fundamentals and all the catalysts that have been going on around the world with the economic shift over to the blockchain technology, to, a new world order, a new monetary system, all the talk that you're hearing about, the Crypto Act and the Clarity Act and the Genius Act, all of this stuff, crypto-friendly president, administration, all of the positive things you're hearing are what's called catalysts. And these catalysts are supposed to push us to new highs. But yet we're coming down instead. Could this be the big setup for the big takeoff? I mean, in order for an arrow to fly forward, it has to be pulled back first. Right? So could this be the time that this is when people get fearful and panic? We're coming down, people give up, they think it's over, and then all of a sudden something. They change the rules. They announce all of a sudden the big switch, the big flip over, the big transfer of wealth, and boom, shoots up. Meanwhile, the average people sell all their crypto down here at the bottom because they give up or they think it's going down and they want to stop the bleeding, so they get out. Right? This happens a lot. Right? So the smart people get in down here at the bottom of a bear market, and then they get out up here somewhere near the top. And then they buy back or they short the market at the top, and then they wait for it to hit the bottom, let's say down here again, 40, 50K, and then they buy back in and ride it up. But what we call the dumb money, and I don't like I use that word loosely. I don't mean to insult anybody, but the dumb money are the people that don't understand market cycles, and they're just blindly buying because Aunt Lucy said, "Oh, you ever heard of that token Dogecoin? You should buy some." And then people just go and buy it because they don't really understand what's going on. And they're buying when everybody else is talking about it, which is usually at the top of the market. So when you buy up here because it's a feverish pitch and there's euphoria for something, you're gonna tend to put yourself in a situation where you're gonna be regretting that soon, because that's when the pullback happens. And now what you bought up here is now worth less here, and you're sitting on a wallet with a lot of tokens that you paid a lot for that are now worth less than you paid. Right? And so then you think, oh, this is bullshit. This is a scam. Every time I buy, the value goes down. They're watching me, and then you start getting paranoid thinking it's you. And that they're just tracking your payments, your buys. And they're intentionally trying to, as soon as you buy, the price goes down. I've heard people say this. They literally think that they are the target. As if the multi-billion-dollar corporations care about your $60 Bitcoin purchase. So don't take offense to that, but they don't. And so you're non-existent to them. But what they do see, however, is a giant pool of liquidity that you're part of. You're part of the giant pool of liquidity, and your buy and sell orders are in there somewhere. They don't see you individually, but they see that you're buying when most people are buying at the wrong time. And they're kind of laughing in their ivory towers saying, man, these people, let's dump on them. Let's dump on them right now and take their money. Let's take their lunch money. And then when the market dumps back down, we'll buy it back at the lowest price. And then as we buy it back, that will cause the market to start pumping because of all the liquidity we're pouring back in the market. And people will think the price is going up, and they'll start buying, and they'll help pump the price back up. And then once they start to pump the price back up, it'll start to reach a feverish pitch again. And that's when the masses will come in, because they always come at the last minute when things are at their extreme high. And then as soon as that happens, we'll sell it again on them and dump it again. So instead of getting caught up in that and you being the victim, you need to just know when to buy and sell so that you can ride these roller coasters up with the whales. So rather than being a fish or a shrimp or a brim that's getting eaten by the whales, you become one of those sucker fish that just is stuck to the side of the whale, and you're getting the leftovers. You're getting the crumbs from the whale. So with that being said, let's just look at some of these other ones. That's the super gut. So, I'm sorry, that is the Pi cycle. And Pi cycle, by the way, guys, is the only one that's not triggered bearish right now. It's the only one that's still saying the top is not in. These two lines would have to cross. This one would have to come up, and this one would have to go down, and they would have to cross, right? And then that would be a Pi cycle like this, top. And that could be up here at 250, 260. The question is this going to happen like this? Or is this going to happen like this? In other words, are we going to go up and have a Pi cycle cross first, or are we going to go down first and then go back up? And and then that will be the new top. It just so happens that history has shown that all of the Pi cycle tops so far have been at the top of each bull market, right? And this one, but then again, we had this one back here where we did have we had a top back here, but there's no Pi cycles here because there was no Pi cycle indicator back then. This was back in 2011. once they created it, here was the first one. And you can see we did have a big pullback and then a huge run up after that. So that could happen. This could be where we're having a big run up at 126. We have a big pullback, and then we pop out and have a parabolic move to the upside. By the way, this pullback right here from here to there doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 74%. So if we did have a 74% pullback, guys, right now, that would bring us down to like the 30K range. From the top, 74%, 32K. So, and that would be a normal. This one was 79K. That would be a normal bear market. This one was 85K. 85% rather, not 85K. 85%. This one was 87. That one, the one I just showed you was 70%. This one back here, 93%. So we can't get overly worried about these pullbacks because they happen. You just have to be positioned properly when they happen. If you're in a long and it's dropping and you stay in that long, you're going to go negative. You got to know when to get in and when to get out. That's the whole key. That's why you're here, to learn all of that. But this pi cycle has to cross, and it's not even close to crossing right now. So that's one indicator out of 5 or 6 that we look at that are important. Now, if I get rid of the pi cycle cross and I look at every other one, here's the super guppy. Whenever the super guppy turns gray, and I know I went over this before, but we got a lot of new people, and I just want to be clear here, because we got to, in order for you to really understand what is about to happen, you have to look at all of this stuff. Whenever the super guppy turns green after a bull market top, as soon as it starts to turn, goes from green to gray, it's usually the beginning of a big drop down. That was 2014. Here is 2017, bull market top. Comes down a little bit, turns gray, drops much further. This is the last one in 2021. Bull market top, turns gray, drops down much further. And here we are in 2025. We hit a top, and then going into 2026, turns gray, and we're starting to drop, guys. So this is indisputable. That's the super guppy. So let's get rid of that. Let's go to the EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon. Historically, whenever we flip it, we go from the top. This is bull market top back here in November of 2013. As soon as we get through the EMA ribbon, sometimes we can wick right down into it and come back above it. But as soon as we get underneath of it and hold it as resistance, we come up and retest it, but we can't get it back above it. It's the beginning of the end. That was 2014, 13. This is 2017. We get into it. As soon as we get underneath it, hold it as resistance, boom, we drop. 2021, we get into it, we get under it, we try to wick back through it, couldn't get above it. We're underneath it, and we drop. Here we are, guys. We flipped it already. We're underneath it. We retested it, can't get through it. We're starting to drop. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at the Gaussian channel. Gaussian channel on the 5-day. Bull markets. As soon as we wick down to it, we touch it. It's like quicksand. We get into it, can't get above it. We get under the center line. As soon as it turns red, we drop. Bull market top, we wick down to it. We get into it. We drop below the center line. We get below it. We can't get back above it. Turns red. We drop.
Niko,
These are
I have
just
a
different
question.
indicators. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna ask, the Super Guppy and the EMA ribbon, do you only use them on the larger time frames, or can you use them for like shorter trades too?
They're most accurate. Well, when I use it on the weekly, because that's when it's been accurate in every bull and bear market cycle. If you go down to the lower time frames, it could be something that's useful that you could use. But if you then switch to a higher time frame to see if the same thing happened before, you won't see what you were looking at on the lower time frame anymore. In other words, In other words, on the higher time frame, you can see consistency throughout the whole bull and bear market cycle. Whereas on a lower time frame, I don't think, like the Gaussian channel is not something we would look at unless it's the 5-day, at least the 5-day time frame.
So not as reliable on the shorter
Not as
time.
reliable. Not these indicators. As far as the lower time frames, I would use the RSI down here and the
Okay.
stochastic RSI, which I'll show you in a minute.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, but here in 2021, same thing. We got below it, and that was turned red. And here we are right now, guys. We got below it. We hit the center line, support, broke below it. We're retesting as resistance. It just turned red. Again, bear. That's not good for a bull market. And the only other things that we can look at are the EMA. I mean, the simple moving average. So if we put the 21-day and the 50-day on. Usually when we have a cross, there have been a couple anomalies where we crossed and crossed back up like this one. But this was back in 2021 when we had the all-time high of 65K and we did drop down to 30 and we made another run for it and hit a double top here at 68. But when it crossed here, that was the beginning of the end. We stay above it, and then cross. We just crossed. So on that one, we just crossed. And usually after bull market top, when we cross, it's usually the beginning of a dump. Now, again, Chad pointed out on the last call that there are some anomalies where we've had some crosses where it came back up, like here. We crossed down here and then it popped back up. But this was the difference here is this was the COVID crash. So there are some times when maybe there's some confusion or it gets confused, crosses back up and then crosses back down again. But so that's just one indicator. I'm not putting too much weight on that. But when you take that and you add it to the super gubby, the pi cycle, the golden death cross, and the EMA ribbons and the SMA, it's just too many piling up, showing, and the Gaussian channel. It's just too many of them piling up, showing that we could be in for more downtrend. Not only that, you take all of that and then you look at this. This is the weekly RSI, and we still have bearish divergence happening. So we had bearish divergence in the last bull market, and we have it in this bull market. In other words, we have price going up while the RSI, price going up, RSI going down. That's bearish divergence. Now, down here, we're below the floor. Here's the floor. Same with the last bull market right here. Here's the floor. You hit it, came up to the top. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, bounce on the floor, lower highs, bounce on the floor, lower highs, drop below the floor. Right here is where we drop below the floor. And that's very similar. Boom, boom, boom. We tried to get a new high and we couldn't, and we dropped below the floor right here. We're below, the yellow line is the moving average. We dropped below that, dropped below the floor. And that was when we had a real big dump down. And we didn't get back above. Let me just tighten this up a little bit so you can see it. We didn't come back up to this downward trending resistance line until right here at 17K in the bear market bottom, and pump. We broke out right here. We broke out and then we retested. And that's when we dropped down to 15.5. And that was the beginning of the bull market. And you can see once we got above this bearish divergence, it was the beginning of the bull market. So here we are now in this one. Lower high, lower high, lower high. We got below the floor. We came back up to retest it. We came back up to retest it, guys, and got rejected. We couldn't get back above the floor. Remember, I was telling you that this needs to get not only above the floor, but it needs to come up and hit this line right here in order for us to have this pump get back up to this level up here. And then if that happened, we might have had a head and shoulders, which would still be bearish, but at least we would have pumped up to 100 or 105K before that happened. And it didn't get back above it. So that is not a good sign. That's like being right here. By the way, you see this upward trend, M on an upward trend. We got a very similar thing happening right here. And we fell below. And now we're dropping. So how far are we going to drop is the question. In fact, if I take this and just bring it all the way up, guys, it's just, there's just too many coincidences. We got under it. We were supporting. We were on top of it here. Fell below it, and that was it. Bouncing, fell below it, retesting. Now, the difference here is we didn't even retest. We just dropped, and that was it, and just started dropping. Here, we retested. We hugged the line for a little while. Unless we were above it, that could be the case. We were bouncing on it, and then we just fell. And then as soon as we fall through, guys, so that's why I'm still in my short on Bitcoin. So what does that mean? Listen, if I had nothing to go by but the charts and didn't know about all the other great things that are happening in the crypto space, I would be bearish right now. I'd be saying, okay, guys, well, I am short, and I did short, and I am in a short, but at the same time, I don't know if this is going to last, or we're going to have some crazy thing happen where a Clarity Act gets passed and unanimously, and billions of dollars inflows come back in, and then we have a super cycle pump back up to the upside. That can happen. I'm just getting worried that there's too many weird things going on in the world right now that that might, the value of the dollar, the BRICS nation, all these things that are happening, and possibly a monetary switch from the old way to the new way. It could mean that there's going to be a little bit of a mess first before things get good again. Could mean that we're going into a recession or depression. Could mean all that stuff. Now, Trump's certainly not talking that way. He's certainly thinking we're coming into the golden age and everything is great and the markets are great and everything's great. The country's getting cleaned up, and with the exception of some of these accidents that happen while ICE is doing their job, there would be no negative news in the world, right? It seems. He got Trump meeting with world leaders around the world, creating his own World Economic Forum, basically his own organization, and him making himself the head of it. And princes and kings of other countries are giving him crowns and Nobel Peace Prizes. And I mean, Mexico and Venezuela, they're all giving him their Nobel Peace Prizes. So on the surface, everything seems amazing, right? It seems like things should be really pumping. And why is it not, is the question. E Bizarro asked, what percent was the last fall on Bitcoin? You're talking about in the last bear market? From the last bull market top?
Yeah, Niko.
That was about 70%. Let's just go look. So this was it right here. Previous bull market top at 68K, down to 15.5, 77%. And so I'm not saying we're going to do the same thing we've always done, but if we did, 77% would bring us right back down to 30K. And why would that happen? Well, let's just look at something, guys. We went to 65K right here. What's double that? 130 approximately, 126, 130. We went to 15.5 in the last bear market bottom. What's double that? 30K, 31K. It's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if you've been in this group for a year or longer, maybe 2 years, you probably remember me saying that there was one weird thing that happened back here in this, when we broke. Let me just put this line right at 31K. And I was saying this for a long time, guys. We had major support. We went to the top, came back and bounced on 31K, came back and double topped, came back and bounced and went through it, and then retested it as resistance, and then finally fell into the bear market all the way down to 15.5. On the way up, we hit it. Boom. April 2023. Couldn't get through it. May, June, July. Boom. Hit it again. Couldn't get through. Took months to get back up there. June, July. Came all the way down again. August, September, October. Boom. October, we hit it again. Couldn't get through. Right here. We wicked up to it. Boom. Couldn't get through. And then finally got through in October, the end of October. And you'll notice that we never retested. It was resistance, 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 resistance for over a year. We break through and we just climb, climb, climb. We never came back to retest this, which is not proper market structure. And normally we would. Any major support and resistance level usually gets retested when it flips. And so what is that telling me? Well, if you guys remember 2 years ago, for those of you who've been in the group, I was saying we're going to come back and hit 30K. Now, I was thinking it was going to happen here on the way down. I was thinking it was going to happen here. And then I was saying, well, since it didn't happen here and we came down to 44K right here or 45K, which by the way, was a retest of this resistance level. It was a retest of this resistance and this resistance. We did wick down and hit that. But we never retested 30K. And so those of you who've been around for a while, you might remember me saying, well, we are going to retest 30K. It's either going to be before the bull market top, somewhere in here, or after, in the next bear market. And people laugh at me. People say, oh yeah, we're never going that low again. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I'm not saying it's gonna. But I wouldn't really be surprised. In fact, it would prove that I was right 2 years ago when I said that it might. But I was hoping that it doesn't. But this is a strong upward trending support in a bull market that we broke and retested as resistance and then dropped below the bear flag. And now we're starting to fall back down. And we're not in this. We're at 82K right now, guys. Okay, so how far down are we from the top? 82K right here. We're at 35% from the top. That's halfway of the average bear market. Now, if this time is different, like myself and Chad and a lot of people want it to be and think that it could be, we think it could be different this time for a lot of reasons. Logically, when you're just looking at the charts, it doesn't look different. It looks like it's doing the same thing it's always done, except for that 12-month candle I told you about that ended red. That's an anomaly that has never happened. And then the pi cycle indicator showing that the top is not in. That is strange as well, which means the top is not in, which means we could have another big run to the upside. So with those two outliers there, I'm not 100% sure that we don't have a super cycle and something strange happens this time. Now, if nothing else was going on in the world, I would say, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But with all of the crazy stuff happening, we have an administrator, a president of the United States who not only has his own crypto coins, but so does his wife, so does his son, his youngest son, his two oldest sons have their own Bitcoin mining operation, one of the largest in the world that mines 2% of the entire Bitcoin supply. They're well into crypto, guys. Trump's made billions in crypto. They're well into it. He's changing laws that are pro-crypto. We got the Genius Act that he passed. We got the Clarity Act that's in play right now. Might have just got passed. I'm sure that there's some things that are not 100% on it, but I think it just got passed. And so you got all these good things happening. You got XRP possibly getting ready to take over the financial back end settlement of all financial transactions. If that happens, XRP could shoot to the moon. We got a lot of really crazy stuff happening this time around that has never happened before. And so you would think that this time would be different because of all that. But the charts are showing that they're not yet. So this is where what fakes people out sometimes is they hear the news and they hear the YouTubers and they hear all the people talking about it and Michael Saylor and all these we're at the bottom. Michael Saylor said we were at the bottom at 95. Okay. Does Michael Saylor know what he's talking about all the time? No. Michael Saylor has a vested interest in getting everyone to hold their damn Bitcoin or buy more of it. Because if Bitcoin drops to 20 or 30K, Michael Saylor could be liquidated. MicroStrategies could lose a lot. Bill, are you on? Do you remember what MicroStrategies liquidation point is?
I have a comment about that, Nico.
Yeah.
Okay.
So um, there are statements online that say that MicroStrategy is vulnerable at 70,000, but
Right.
uh, a lot of their loans do not require payback when Bitcoin is low. In fact, they could go all the way down, and Sailor would never have to pay them back.
Yeah. I've seen that.
They have some really good loan terms. They're trusted by the banking industry, and so they've got the money now, and now they got the Bitcoin, and they don't have to sell it.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that side of it as well.
Yeah, his
So-
average price is about 74,000, which has been posted a couple times in the chat. And 20, 30K for a long time, he's going to have some trouble.
Yeah, and it may not get there, guys. Maybe they've been over the hill. They went over the hump, and not only that, but now they got institutions coming in with billions of dollars and maybe some bailment money. But there are some institutional players like BlackRock that don't really care if Michael Saylor gets liquidated. They actually said that he's going to fail. So I'm not so sure about that, to be honest with you. He is playing a big game of, musical chairs with the money. I mean, genius, yes, but he's lost before. Prior to Bitcoin, he's had some problems with some companies. But I hope. Listen, I'm not against what he's doing. There are going to be more companies doing it. There's a lot of companies coming out doing it, and that's what he needs. That's why he's been on a world tour speaking about it and explaining how he's doing it, to sell other companies to do it so that they can help prop the price up. But somebody has to buy and somebody has to keep it afloat. He's been the one keeping it afloat. Yeah, Bill says he is shorting the dollar. That's basically what's happening. He's shorting the dollar. So, and that's why when some people say, well, Niko, why do you trade on a coin margin? I'm trading on a Bitcoin margin here. I'm shorting the dollar. When I short Bitcoin on a Bitcoin margin, I'm making Bitcoin on the way down, which means I'm shorting the US dollar against Bitcoin. Especially if clarity passes. Casey asks, what is your thought on XRP 2026 price, especially if clarity passes? I mean, there's a lot that has to happen for XRP to have price appreciation. There is something going on that most people don't realize. XRP, guys, might even be more rare and more valuable than Bitcoin. Now, someone say, well, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. There will never be any more. But Bitcoin is being mined, right? And there's several million more to come. Whereas that is not the case with XRP. There is only so much, and they're being burned. In other words, they're not minting more XRP. But over time, there will be less and less XRP. Now, you might say, well, there'll be less and less Bitcoin as well. No, there'll always be 21 million Bitcoin. Over time, there'll be less and less XRP. Let me pull something up here that's kind of interesting. Tom Lee. You guys are familiar with Tom Lee?
Tommy Lee?
Not the musician, but the crypto. Does he doesn't have his own YouTube? I thought he had his own YouTube. Asian guy, always on the news talking about crypto and XRP. Damn, I don't know what I did with this video. It's a good one. Let me see if I can find it. You guys need to hear this. Hold on one sec. But As far as the XRP price goes, there's things that have to happen for XRP to appreciate. And those things are in play. They're going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know when, but it's in the works. I know that. All the mechanisms are in place for it to happen. But I'm not thinking $1,000 this year or $10,000, although those prices are potentially possible in the future. I'm thinking more, $14 to $20, $25, $50 maybe. That's all possible this year. Hold on one sec.
World enjoys.
Over time. And then there is something that will happen. It's like a snowball effect that will happen as well. Once these things start getting implemented, once XRP is starting to use for cross-border payments and settlements, and then the derivative market, it's when it starts settling the derivative markets, then it's a whole nother ball game. Then things start to expand rapidly towards price appreciation. But it could seem like nothing's happening for a little while before that happens. And that's the problem. It's like waiting for a flower to bloom. You sit there and stare at it, it seems like nothing's happening. And one day you come out and it's just in bloom. But yeah, I'll try to find that. I don't see it at the moment, but this is the guy, by the way, Tom Lee. You guys can look him up if you want him yourself. He's on the news a lot, this guy right here. But with that being said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's a legend already. I mean, he's like a household name, basically.
Yeah. But what he was saying in this video about XRP and how it's actually possibly even more rare and more valuable than Bitcoin over time makes a lot of sense when you understand the mechanics behind it. Because if indeed it does be used for what, all of the gurus that are hyping it up say, and those things are in place to happen, then it will probably become one of those asset classes that are not even buyable. It'll get to the point where there's no liquidity left. There's no supply left because the amount of that's available on the retail market, like right now you can go buy Bitcoin, right now you can go buy XRP, but there might come a time in the future where you can't find it or buy it anywhere because the liquidity was all bought up by the institutions that need the price to be a certain price in order to handle all the transactions. And at that point, if you're already a holder of it and you already have a lot of it, that price could be astronomical. And then what would you do with it at that point? You could then loan it back or stake it, get a dividend from it, or you can sell it to the banks. They'll be willing to buy it from you at whatever the current value is, right? And so, but his explanation of it was much greater than I can explain it to you here. So I'll try to find that and send it to you, or I'll post it in the group. It was a good one. But yeah, so I mean, all I can say is buy and wait, guys. I can't tell you exactly when the things are going to happen, but I think they're going to happen. I think it's inevitable. And Bitcoin here, it's still the tide that's rising and dropping all the boats, all the ships. And so as long as it continues to trend downward, we're going to have a overall market downward trend. There's few things that are not correlating. So let's go look at Canton, because I did give a signal for Canton. Oh man, it did go up higher since then too. Right about here, January 26th, you guys remember, we go back in the group, in my Discord, I was talking about this long position on CC, which was Canton. What was that? Maybe I'm already way past it. Down here. Oh, here it is. Also long on Canton, CCUSD. This was 128. Where was that? Somewhere in here. What's going on with this? Does anybody know what Canton is? Do some research on it. This is like something that has been just, look at this, upward trending for a while now. I mean, it was down here at 10 cents.
Yeah. Remember, I DM'd you some stuff on Canton. They have like they
That's
work with
right.
every bank around the world. I mean, pretty much, and it's gonna be huge in the future.
Yeah, this is I'm sorry, I didn't go back far enough. I'm on a lower time frame. It was down here at 5 cents. Obviously, we got a giant cup and handle on the daily on Canton. And yeah, Marlon, thanks for that, by the way. My brother texted me about it also, and I didn't do any research on it yet because I was like, it can't be doing anything. I haven't heard a lot of stuff about it, but we got a big cup and handle on it. We got a breakout. Where's it going? Possibly.
Niko, it just broke out of a trend line, and I re-entered right now so it's a timely. But yeah, I've gotten some. I've pulled my profits when it was kind of pulling back, and now I just re-entered again. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got to do more research about it. I normally don't recommend anything, but there is a lot of positive information, and there are some YouTube videos about it where the founder is speaking, the creator, and what it's about and what the purpose, what the utility is. And it is something that is going to be kind of like in the XRP range of utility there for cross-border settlements and, things like that. But I mean, this is the daily. Let's go down to the lower time frames. We do have a breakout. It is breaking. It did break out of a big bull flag, which is the other side of the cup and handle to the upside and retested, and it's been making higher highs ever since. Now, it's not a huge pump straight up, but I mean, it is holding the upward trending support line right now as we speak. So if you're going to get into it, you want to wait for it to hit the support and bounce, hit the support and bounce. You don't want to get it up here because it tends to pull back to the support line. And obviously, if it breaks below this, it could pull back, but because it did it here, I mean, let's just look. The last time we had a breakout, it did it here where it was holding above the support until it broke out and retested, and then it consolidated for a little while and then broke out again. So possible. Now, also don't use too high leverage, obviously, on this because your liquidation and your entry would be too close. I don't have any XRP in my USDT rather in my account. I'm trading on a coin margin right now, so I am on Bitcoin coin margin and XRP coin margin, and so I moved everything over there to do those trades. But yeah, this is something you can be long on, and it probably will continue to go up in value. The price is very low right now. This could be equivalent to getting in on something like XRP down in the 40-50 cent range. I have a feeling that this could be a few dollars, in the coming months. XRP at $1.74. But look at what's going on here, guys. We still are in the downward trending channel, the overall downward trending channel. We were in a falling wedge inside of the downward trending channel, and we were bouncing on the center line. that I was talking about right here, this blue line right here coming down the middle, we bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced, a couple wicks below it, but we kept coming above it. And we were coming into this apex, so that's why I have the orange lines there. And we were about to break out here. And then it just fell below the orange lines and come all the way back down to the bottom of this overall downward trending falling wedge. And it might even be, and it's hitting the floor, which is this red line right here. This red line goes all the way back a year. Back here is, 2024. December of 2024. And so for a year, we've been above this whole grayed out area. Every time we wick down this low, we bounce up pretty high. Every time we get down here into this floor, we bounce. Floor, bounce. Middle of the floor, bounce all the way up to the top. All the way back down to the floor, through the floor here. This was the October 10th big dump when Trump was speaking about tariffing China for 120%. Everything dumped. XRP went all the way down to $1.20, bounced all the way back up into the channel. Hit it, bounced, hit it, bounced. We are hitting it now. We are literally going through the floor as we speak. Where can it go? I have this orange line down here at the $1.50 range. I don't know why I have it there. There's no reason. I'm going to move it up actually right to this previous support level. Let me move this back up here. I don't need all that in the way. And so if we come down, here's the problem. Generally speaking, we do continue to hit this downward channel. We hit the bottom of it. This one wick through it here, all the way down to here. So here we're coming down to it. Will it wick through this orange line and hit this white downward trending channel? If it does, it'll be somewhere in the $1.40 to $1.50 range. And then bounce back out. That's what I think will happen. In order for XRP to get down here in the $1.50 range, Bitcoin will probably have to be in the high 70s. We will probably come below 80. Bitcoin could literally go all the way down to 70K and XRP could still be up here in the $1.40, $1.50 range. I mean, it could come down and retest this right here. That is possible. A lot of times these lines do get retested. It would be considered a double bottom. And if that happened, that would be somewhere down here in the $1.20 range. And that would be crazy. I was not expecting it. Thinking we were, hitting the floor here and about to break and having that pump back up for Bitcoin to about 100 to 105K before we go into a bear market, and then XRP decoupling at that time, and then XRP starting to, altcoin season happening, XRP starting to take on a life of its own and starting to climb up while Bitcoin kind of stagnates and trends down. That can also happen at any time. Right now, everything seems to still be correlating with Bitcoin, but waiting for the big decoupling event. Actually, you know what? Let me take this. Let me bring that down to that. I don't need that orange line there. I'll move this. That's where that should be. So we had some support here at $1.80. We bounced, we bounced, we bounced, and we just went through it. So the next support down, guys, is this red line at $1.60. It's pretty much it. And then below that is the bottom of the downward trending channel. $1.50. So $1.60 support, bounce, $1.50 maybe. And then below that is this line here. That's I mean, as far as buying opportunity goes, guys, we are in buy territory. Buy, and then if it goes lower, buy more. And if it goes lower, buy more, because you're probably not going to see these prices again. And I will tell you for a fact that that's what the big players are doing. They're stocking up. They're accumulating more at these lower prices because they know what's going to happen after all the weak hands get out, all the people dump, all the people sell, all the people can't handle the pain of watching the value of their holdings go down. And you got to not think that way. You got to be contrarian. You got to know that you're investing in something that is worth much more than the current price. The value of it is much more than the current price, and you're able to buy it at a discount. When it goes lower, you're buying it at a discount. Just like if someone was knocking at your door saying, hello, we're selling $5 bills today for $5. You'd be like, who cares? I can buy $5 bills all day long for $5. Come back when they're cheaper. They come the next day. We're $5 bills for $4. Well, okay, that's not bad. You're able to get $5 bills at a discount. That's not bad. But when $5 bills, and you know they're $5 bills, and you know they're real $5 bills, gets down to $2 or $1 or 75 cents for a $5 bill, you will buy as many. You should be buying as many as you can because they're still $5 bills. But the problem is that people then say, well, it must be worthless. Oh, I'm not going to buy no $5 bills. I'm going to wait for the price to go down even more. I'm going to wait for the price to get down to a penny, then I'll buy them. And it never goes to a penny. It shoots back up to $5, then it goes to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what happens with Bitcoin. That's what happens with everything. When Bitcoin was dropping in the last bear market, it got to 17, it got to 20K. People are like, I'm waiting for it to go to 10. It got to 15.5. We were calling the bottom at 17 in the group. It went down to 15.5. We were just saying, go long, add more contracts, buy more. Never went to 10. So the people that were waiting for 10 never got in. And then it went back up to 20. They thought maybe it was going to come back to 10. They never got in. It went up to 30. And then once it got up to 40, 50, 60, they realized that they should have been in. And that's when they all start buying in again. Instead of at 15.5. When you should have bought at 15.5. And if it went down to 10 after that, you buy more. So all I'm saying, guys, is that you got to be contrarian when it comes to these price dips, especially if you like if you bought at $1.80, $1.90, $2 up here somewhere, XRP, and now the price is $1.70, you might be saying, damn, I put 20 grand into XRP and now it's only showing that it's only $16,000 worth. You think you lost 4 grand, but you didn't. You still have all the same amount of XRP that you bought. And if you were to buy another 20 grand down here at $1, let's just say or $1.70 or $1.20, that's called dollar cost averaging. Right? So if you bought $20,000 worth at $2.20, or no, if you bought 20,000 XRP, let's just say, that would be $44,000 that you bought when it was $2.20. All right. So remember that 44,000. Then let's say you bought another 20,000 XRP at $1.70. That was 34,000. So now you have 40,000 XRP. Whoops. You take the $2.20 that you first bought it at, plus the $1.70 you bought it at the last time, then your average, sorry, I did that wrong. $2.20 plus $1. What am I doing on here? Hold on a second. $1.70. Oh, dollar is $3.90, and then you divide that by the 2 purchases, and your average purchase price is now $1.95. So now you have 40,000 XRP times $1.95. 78,000 worth. So dollar cost averaging is it lowers your overall purchase price if you only if you buy more at a lower price. But if you just hold what you bought up here and you write it down, and then you wait for it to come back up for you to get back to break even or in profit, you missed an opportunity to lower your overall purchase price down here by not buying any more. Anyway, any questions, guys? Anybody got any questions? Let's see. Is CC Credit Coop Lending Vault? No, not that I know of. CC is the ticker symbol for Canton coin. Canton. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's credit, but it's Canton, Canton. Marlon posted, the Canton Network announces intentions to deploy World Liberty Financial's USD1 stablecoin, advancing institutional grade on-chain finance. There's a JP Morgan to issue its JPM deposit token directly on privacy-focused Canton Network. A lot of things going on with Canton. Randy says, do you think XRP chart is indicating more dump? Yes. Well, it's not the chart. It's that it's correlating with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues to go down, everything's going down with it right now. It's not just Bitcoin, it's the market. So everything's kind of falling unanimously because they correlate with each other. Until XRP decouples from Bitcoin and the use case and the billions pour in, then it's going to just fluctuate with the rest of the crypto market right now, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's just one clip. He says that's an insane roster of institutional banking. Thanks for the tip. That's just, two of the majors, JP Morgan, World Liberty Financial, but with Ripple, they're in bed with like 11,000 banks around the world. So these two guys, they're both. Canton is set to go. You got XRP, you got XLM, HBAR. They're all kind of being used for similar types of cross-border payments, different settlements, messaging. They're all being used for different things that are going to be required once this big switch happens. So I think even XLM and XRP, XLM and HBAR could go to $100 or more, even $500 or $1,000 per token someday as well. But if that happens, XRP would probably be at 10,000 or 20,000 by then. So I'm not worried about those other ones. That will happen if XRP does what it's supposed to do. If XRP does what it's supposed to do, I don't need to have millions of HBAR or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of XLM just in case, because those will only do what they're going to do if XRP is successful in the Ripple network, in my opinion, me personally. So, if you buy gold, for instance, at $2 an ounce or $2,000 an ounce, and you just to be safe, you're going to buy 1,000 ounces of silver just to be safe, just in case silver does better than gold. People justify that, and that makes sense logically. But with XRP, people say, well, I'm going to buy HBAR and XLM just in case XRP doesn't do anything. But the reality is XLM and HBAR and some of these other ones won't do anything if XRP doesn't do anything. So, in my opinion, having XRP on the Ripple network, if you have enough of that, it doesn't matter if the other ones do good, because you'll be doing so good with your XRP that you won't care that you didn't have much XLM. Victoria says, I went long on 2 trades yesterday with BTC and XRP long, and I'm trying to see if they will pump up to get out at break even. Well, and then you say any help would be great. Yes. Me personally, I don't think anybody, did anybody give a long signal? Maybe chat. I don't know if anybody did. I didn't look to see, but I'm still in my short. So we don't want to trade, and trust me, I've been in your situation before. We don't want to make trades just to get out at break even, right? I know you want it to go up so you can get out at break even, but based on everything I just showed you, we could be seeing lower lows. Going into the weekend, we could be dropping down to the 70s on Bitcoin. So do you have a stop loss in place? And what is it? If you entered, let's see, you BTC 85085 and XRP at 180. So let me look at it. You got in XRP at 180 is what you're saying, right? If you had a stop loss, I don't know if you have one or not. You're welcome to answer me. This is more of a learning thing rather than I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything like that. But do you have a stop loss? And if so, where is it on XRP and Bitcoin? And you're welcome to come off mute and talk too if you don't want to type it. But because if you enter a long position here because you think it's going to bounce at $1.80 and it doesn't bounce and it falls through. And just so you know, I am long here as well. Just so you know, I am long, but it's about to hit my stop loss right now. This is XRP. Let's just go look.
XRP just dropped down to 172.
Yeah, I'm negative $435 on this XRP trade, negative 252. But I'm also hedging because I'm short against Bitcoin, and they're both correlating. So if Bitcoin continues to go down and XRP goes down, whatever I lose here on XRP, I'm making back on my Bitcoin. So it's kind of a hedge. What indicator are you talking about, Richard?
The one that you have on the screen now. I tried to find it, but on Phemex, but I couldn't find it. The one that looks like mountains here, you know. The one you have right up right now. What is that called? That indicator called, please.
I don't have any indicators on at the moment. You talking about this blued out area?
No, the one that's showing the highs and the lows. You know, that you have up right now. What is that indicator?
This up here and this down here?
No, what the highs and the lows.
The channel?
It's on Trading View.
The parallel channel?
Parallel channel.
This thing right here, this whole thing? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, these are just
the jagged ups and downs.
Oh, that's the chart. That's just those are just the lines on the chart.
How do I get that on Phemex? I tried looking at in indicators. How do I get that specific one? I only can find the candles.
These are candles. These are the candles.
Yes, but that particular type of setup where it looks like mountains. That's, you know, I'm looking at.
Well, I mean, so you got to go up here to the top left up here where it says futures. And then here to coin M perpetual or USD M USDT.
All right. Now, okay. That's what I wasn't doing. Oh, okay.
And then
okay. I wasn't.
But see, you might be confused also because you might have it already. Like this is the chart, right? But the reason why it looks like it does is because I have it dialed in, I have it tight in. Now, if I roll the little dial on my mouse, you know, the thing on the top of my mouse, the little wheel, if I roll that, then things get really spread out like this. If I roll it forward, it doesn't look like that anymore. If I roll it towards me, I pull it in nice and tight like this. If I go to the, you know, if I go up here to the weekly time frame, it's not going to look like that anymore. It looks like this. And then if I spread it out, and then if I bring this down like this, I can tighten it down into a small little tight channel. So you can manipulate all this once you have it on there. But yeah, you gotta go to the basics videos on the charts. And this thing that I have, this white line here, that's actually this is not really an indicator. It's a trend line tool. And you can come over here on the left side. Once you have the chart up like this, you come over here and there's a little tab down here in the bottom left corner of the chart. You click on it and it pops out the drawing tools here. And this is going to take you a little time to, you know, figure these things out. But this right here, if I just click on it, that's a trend line. I can draw it and then you double click to let it sit there, right? But if I click the little arrow to the right of that, it's going to pull up all the different trend lines. And this is the parallel channel. A parallel channel is this, where I can draw this and then double click and pull it down, which gives me this downward channel like this. And then of course I can delete it. But
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I just I heard you say mountains and I was like, are you talking about the actual candlesticks? But yeah, that's the candlesticks on the chart. This is XRP, but if I go to, Bitcoin, for instance, it's going to look different. Everything looks a little different depending on the, on what chart you're on. I'm also on the weekly time frame up here. If I go down to the 5 minute, for instance, it's going to look totally different. So it does depend on what time frame you're on, right? It depends on, let me just refresh that. So the 5 minutes is going to look totally different than the weekly that I was just on. And it's going to be more zoomed in, right? So have you ever traded before, Richard? Been on any of the charts before?
I've been doing mock trading. I've been mock trading for about 3 months now.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't realize you have to go up into the futures part. I didn't do that. I was searching for it all along the side here. I couldn't find it.
Did you find it?
I think
Did you find it now?
I haven't. Well, I'm only on a tablet, so I don't know how to. I will have to go off from just this talking to you.
Hey, Bill, do you have a basics call? Bill, we have
today's an onboarding. It's Friday.
Onboarding today. Okay.
I can go over it. No worries. Just come on my call and we'll go over it. Yeah. It's harder to use on a tablet. When you're using a tablet, certain things get cut off on the side and whatnot. Really, a PC or a Mac with a mouse is going to save your whole life. It's going to make your life easier,
Yeah, see, I'm 7 hours ahead of you guys, so to go on the onboard, it's right now. It's harder. 9:30 at night here, and so. But I was watching Bill on the replay on Facebook. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get you. You'll get the hang of it. You just got to be on the right charts and understand what you're looking at. But if you can get on the basics call today at 2 with Bill, I mean, not the basics call, I'm sorry. The onboarding or the basics call that Bill does on Monday. That would be a great call for him to walk you through all that and help you. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we just wicked down, by the way, guys. We just wicked down to 81.7. We just popped back up. It's trying. Bitcoin is not really sure what it wants to do right now, but we did have a wick. I mean, we do have a major support line here, and we did wick below it. And I don't know if it's going to pop back up or if it's going to hold as resistance. What was support could be hold as resistance, but it did it here too and came back above. It did it here and came back above. But, we'll see what it's doing right now. But we are in a sideways channel now on the lower time frames, going sideways. But we're going sideways inside of a downward trending, widening channel. And this is bearish, guys. It's just bearish right now. And so we could see some lower lows going into the weekend. I don't know how low, but maybe a double bottom back down here at 80 right here. That's possible in the near future.
Niko, so where did that red support line come from? How did you derive that?
Maybe let me just go with the higher time frame. Maybe that is inconsequential here. Maybe I just put that there because I was measuring how far the drop was. I think that might have been all I was doing. I was measuring how far the drop was from the top so far. So that doesn't mean anything. So let me get rid of that one. 80 is important because this was the drop here. That was the big drop before we went into that bearish flag and then drop below it. So I'm gonna put that line right there, and that is what we basically just hit right here. Go back to the lower time frame. What we've just done is double bottomed a triple bottom. We hit the 80 here. Not quite. We hit 80,680 right there. This line right below it, this one here, I'm going to change to blue. Back here, way back here, got to go to the hourly to see it. Back here, we hit it on November 21st. Boom. We trended in an upward trend support and then fell through it here. This was the big drop that we just had. Let me get rid of some of the stuff. This was what I gave the signal on. We came back up and retested, and then we dropped, and we're just basically coming back down to this 80 support right here, this blue line. So that would be one touch. This would be a double bottom right here and possibly going into a triple bottom. But if we cannot hold above 80, it is important to do that. Then we could see further dumping with everything, the entire market.
So when it comes to recon together, you normally have like rise 1, rise 2, then now you're doing drops. What drop are we on? Are we on like on the third drop?
This is Bitcoin. You're talking about what I was showing you on XRP?
Well, on any of them. I mean, the you know how you go your drop levels 1, 2, 3. Where are we at? Are we on the? Are we on the? I mean, on the. Anyway.
Yeah, I was showing you. I think. Let me go back to XRP because
I'm just talking about the
1, 2, 3 pattern.
On we are right now. Because you go up 4. I mean, up 3, up. You go up 3, down 3, and you keep doing that over and over to make all your highs and lows.
I think Chad says we're very near the bottom of drop level 3. I think if I go and look at his post, I think that's
I think you're talking about Chad because I don't talk about drop levels like that. But
right.
Oh, okay.
It's a beat the market maker.
Yeah.
Power of 3 thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's because the drops are, the what do you call them? The big the big candles. Boom, boom, boom. They're not like stepping down slowly. They're just like falling,
right,
and then just barely with your boardroom, and then dropping again. So it's
yeah. So I do understand what you're saying though, but we are, according to XRP, we're at the floor. We are basically bouncing near the floor here. This red line right here goes all the way back. The last time we hit it was right here in April 2025. But if you go back even further, we've been above this floor. We've been above this since, over a year now. Right here, December 2024. And every time we get down into this floor area, this grayed out area, we bounce out. And the only time we ever went lower than it was this big dump here in October. And that was a wick that liquidated a lot of people, and it came down and went right back up instantly, so fast that no one had time to even catch it or enter it. And some people got hurt on that one as well because they got liquidated. But and now we trend slowly back down, touching the floor in the middle. And then this, we hit it, $1.80, and now we're wicking down below. But we did not get through the bottom yet, but it is trending towards it. That is for sure. This is just a falling wedge inside the overall downward trending channel. But I would say this might be drop level 3. And it just so happens to be right near where the bottom of the floor is, as far as XRP is concerned. If Bitcoin has a huge move and it just starts domino infecting, and let's just look at the liquidity real quick. If Bitcoin has a big move to the downside, looks like it just took out some liquidity here. I mean, we do have a lot of liquidity going all the way down into the 70s here, but it's not, it's like a domino effect action. What happens is that when you see this happening, where was it? Let me just go to Heikinashi. Looks a little different. When you see this happening where it's just boom and then boom, 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 and it just starts to drop really quick, even like this one right here, because we started up here, boom, 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 and then one huge long candle all the way down, and then it bounced back up. What's happening during this time is that someone gets liquidated, and then it causes a domino effect of liquidation, and it's like liquidation after liquidation after liquidation after liquidation after liquidation until literally hundreds of millions of dollars are wiped out in liquidations from the people that are sitting here with either stop losses or liquidations. This is the liquidation heat map, which shows where people will get liquidated if the price goes down this level. There's not a huge amount. There's not, I mean, the majority of it is up here in this bright yellow, but there is a lot of money down here that gets liquidated as we start to peel through this. And as soon as we hit this one and hit this one, it's like a domino effect sometimes. So it seems like there's not a lot of people sitting down here in longs at the moment. They might have already got liquidated, except for Victoria. She's long up here at $1.80, but so am I on XRP. But I didn't give a long on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is, unfortunately, it's still the tide that rises all boats, and when it goes down, all the boats go down with it right now. Not all of them. There are some. If you come over here and look at this, if you hit this drop down button, you just scroll. See, everything's negative. Everything's red, correlating with Bitcoin. You just scroll down until you see something green. Look at this one. GUI, whatever this is, it's up against everything else. It's going up. Cent, up 11%. Rose, up 4.8%. Look at this one. Sign, SYN, up 52%. It's pumping while everything's going down. Q, 15%. OG, 0G, 11%. Enzo, let's go back up to the 50%. Let me see what's going on here. Let's click on that. This thing is pumping, but it's pumping, but it's in something very obvious is happening here. Up 50% from 4 cents to 10 cents, right? Right here, up 50%. But the overall trend, if you look at this, is downward trending, right? This whole thing is just downward trending. And every once in a while, there's a huge spike up. Big spike up, drops further. Big spike up, drops further. Big spike up, drops further. Big spike up, this is about to drop. So I don't put much weight into things like that. I don't know what it's doing. It's probably the founders or somebody buying it just to pump it up a little bit. Cent, it looks like I have something drawn on here. Somebody must have brought it to our attention. We looked at it before. Again, same thing, very similar. We have downward trending resistance, and we hit it right here. Came down, came back up, hit it, came down, lower highs and lower lows. Hit it right now. So should you go long? No. What normally happens when it gets up here? Comes back down, lower, downward trending. It would have to break out and make a higher high. So when we look at this, it would have to break out and make a higher high than the last high. Otherwise, it's going to do this. And then we'll wake up again because that's what it's been doing. Let's look at Enzo. Enzo hasn't been on Phemex for too long. This is a big pump, don't get me wrong. I mean, we got 55 cents all the way up to $2.50. And then it is consolidating in what looks like a big Bull flag. I might look for a breakout to the upside here, which could possibly bring it up to the $2.50, $2.40 range. Let me see where that would bring it. Yeah. Previous highs. So this could possibly be on its way up to retest these highs back here from last year. Possible big, also possible big cup, kind of lopsided cup and handle. Crazy wicks, yeah. Long wicks being pulled back down. Normally it's an indication of a trend reversal, trend being up. So this, I would not go long here unless you see a breakout and a retest and a hold and starts to climb. Otherwise, this could just slowly come down, 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 and continue its downward trending. It could just continue this. Guys, there's a lot of people in the group that trade all kinds of different things and have ridiculous gains. Just look in the wins wall. You'll see people catching these moves and these crazy moves on all these different cryptos. Me personally, I stick to Bitcoin and XRP because I'm trying to accumulate as much of that as possible. So, you know, when you're watching me trade, you're basically, I'm just teaching you how to trade, how to enter and exit. But once you understand what you're doing and what to look for, you can go and find any trade setup on any crypto, on any coin you want.
Hey, Niko, if we didn't catch the signal you gave last night on Bitcoin and we're thinking it's going down, would you wait for it to, where would you wait for it to go before you short it again?
I mean, it keeps having these little levels, and I think what the gentleman was talking about a minute ago, I don't know if it was James or someone else, but these drop down levels, like right here, we have these drop down levels, and we've had a couple here already. Retesting, drop down, retesting. It's retesting. It's probably dropping right now. So now would probably be the best time because, I mean, I would say wait for the breakout of 80 into the 70s, and then you're going to see a big drop. But we're in this drop down level right now. Boom, boom, boom. But what if it bounces here at 80? Okay, so this would be a scalp. If you go short now, you could ride it from 82.5 all the way down to 80. That would be a nice little scalp, depending on what you're playing with. But is there a guarantee that it's going to drop? I will listen. If this shoots up to the moon over the next couple of days, I will be absolutely shocked. To me, it's trending down. Yes. And these drop levels, to me, it's probably going to come down and retest this right here at the 80, somewhere in the middle, and maybe even go, I mean, break right through that and come all the way down to the 75K range. That could happen. And if that happens, XRP is not going to go all the way down to $1. What XRP will go down to is like $1.60, $1.50 if Bitcoin goes down this low. XRP is moving, correlating with Bitcoin, but not at a drastic percentage rate, the same as Bitcoin. So, you know, I mean, XRP moving from $1.75 to $1.65, that's a 10-cent drop, but what percentage drop is it? So yeah, Marcus, I mean, if you want to, I mean, the higher the entry price, the more you'll make if it continues down. But so if you wait for it to go down to say 80 and it bounces, then you got to wait. You're going to have to wait for it to, what you're really waiting for is it to either break through the next level and hold as resistance and then drop, or it breaks out of the downward trending channel and hold as support. So it's either going to go up or down, but it already broke through this one. It held support, broke through, and is retesting as resistance. And it's could be starting to drop to the next support level. So catching this one up here would be the same as catching this one here. See what I'm saying? Or catching this one here before it drops to the next level. But I don't know about, as far as, 1, 2, 3 drops or third drop. I mean, there could be 10 drops. And it might not stair step the whole way like this. It could be one big one. It could be drop sideways, and then super drop. Or it could just drop and then bounce out. So, but yeah, I think that we got some more downtrend to go before we're done with this, guys. That's just my opinion. Silver down 33%, gold down 12% or 11.5%. Gene, you just said Wix with a question mark. I'm not sure what your question is about Wix, or if you want to be a little bit more detailed. Keith, sometimes just letting the dust settle for the metals plunge in the Fed chair news and let the markets adjust is a strategy. Yes, Keith, good idea. Let's see, a lot of times people want to catch the falling knife. They see the knife falling, they want to catch it. Sometimes you're going to get cut trying to catch a falling knife. I mean, we've been falling since up here when I gave the signal. And then if you want to get in now down here, just remember the move. I mean, obviously the signal's over. And I know that you know that, Marcus, but could it continue down? Obviously getting in here, if it goes down to 70K, then that would still be a great entry, right? But I don't know. I didn't take this trade thinking it was go to 70K. When I gave the signal, I said it was going to go to 83.3 for now. That I knew. It's like I can see the future sometimes, but only the next couple hours. Like you go as far as you can see, and then you'll be able to see further. I figured if it dropped below this, then we would come to 83.3, which was right about here. That drop, boom, right there. Why? Well, let's just go back and look. We had all of these support levels right here, and then we had this one all the way down to 80. So I just figured somewhere in the middle, somewhere right in here, I knew it would hit. And then as soon as it got to 83.3, it bounced right here and consolidated and only came up to about 84. And I kind of knew that it was going to drop further, and it did drop down to 80. I moved my stop loss pretty much all the way down to right above this support line or resistance line here. And if this drops down to here and goes through here, goes through the 80, I will move my stop loss down right above that as well and lock in that. I'm surprised that I'm still, XRP did bounce a little bit. Let's go back and look. I'm not as negative as I was. That's probably because of this. Let's see what's XRP doing. Okay, so XRP wicked all the way down to here. It looks like it wicked right through my stop loss and didn't trigger it. Interestingly enough. And look how close it came these two times. But I have a feeling, and it is hitting, and here's good news. It is hitting the bottom of the downward trending channel. This overall little downward trending falling wedge that's in, but it's still inside the overall channel, because here's the bottom for that down here. But it could mean that this comes up and retest here, goes sideways for a little while, comes all the way over to this side before coming down further maybe down to this, and then finally hitting the bottom down here at 160. That could happen. But now that it pumped up, I do have a choice. And Victoria, you have a choice as well. It's still 175, but I mean, it's not quite back to your 180 yet, but you have to make a decision sometimes to either hold or cut a loss. If you're depending on where your liquidation is, I'll tell you whether you should cut the loss or not. So Victoria, if you want to jump out, or if you want to answer the question in the chat, where is your liquidation on your entry? Because if I think it's going to hit your liquidation, you might want to cut it now. It would be better than waiting for it to liquidate you. Marlon, yeah, sometimes the short entry was spot on. Yep. Sometimes I get it right on the nose. So Victoria, if you're still on, please let me know where your liquidation. I'll let you know if you should cut this loss or not. My liquidation is right here, guys. It's at $1.65. Do I think we're going to hit $1.65? Probably. So I have to decide whether to cut this loss right now at 200. Right now I'm up 23. I'm down 23%, which is 129 XRP, which is $226, $227. I'm up 3,249 on my Bitcoin short. And I longed XRP when we hit this bottom, thinking that Bitcoin was going to bounce and maybe climb out. And it hit 80K. But it might not be done yet. Might not be done yet. Hopefully it is, but it may not be. But it is going up a little bit, because I'm only up $3,000 right now when I was up 4,000. So let me go over to Bitcoin and see what's going on. It looks like it might be bouncing right now. It's up to 83 something. I mean, it is coming back up to this. And it's not really doing anything, so I'm not sure. This is 83.2. Let me go to a lower time frame. Oh, that's why. We did have a little bit of a pump here, but it's just retesting this previous support as resistance. Is it going to get through it is the question. It has not yet. So I think it was James talking about these stair stepping down. As you can see, every step, every time we came down and held as resistance, we dropped to the next level and held as resistance. And not yet has it gotten back up to one of these levels. So as of right now, we're still stair stepping down, but it is possible that we can get above it. And that would be a change in direction. But as you can see, we wicked right down here to 80,650, which to me is not quite 80. So I think we might double bottom there somewhere down here before breaking out. All right, guys, it's 152. We got a onboarding coming up in 10 minutes or so, 8 minutes. Bill just posted the onboarding link in the chat. And also it's in the Discord. If you go into the Discord, you go to the announcements channel right here. And you see I put my announcements for these Zoom calls here, and Bill puts his for the onboarding here. And then he also puts it in the trade chat, in the main chat right here. So there's no excuse to miss that.
Niko, Canton's going up right now.
Canton. Uh-oh. Canton. CC. Let's look at it. Hayes, let me answer your question. Yeah. See, now if you would have, like I said, if you get in, if you're going to go along, do it when it's bouncing on this line. Because that's what it's been doing, but that doesn't mean it's always going to. So you want to put your stop loss right under the line. And as it comes up and makes a new high, you want to either take profit or move your stop loss into profit, because one of these days it could just break below this line and drop back down. We don't know. It's kind of new. But as you can see, it keeps going up, making higher highs, coming down, making higher highs, coming down, making higher highs. Hey Niko, I have a majority of XRP coins on the XRP network in my on-chain. But back in August, when I initially got interested in XRP, I swapped Shiba Inu for XRP. It amounted to 3,455 XRP coins that are in my on-chain, but these are on the Crow network. But do I need to do anything? Crow network, you mean crypto.com? Do you have it on, when you say on-chain, do you mean, yeah, you have it crypto.com. It's you're holding XRP on crypto.com is what you're saying. On-chain, meaning like you're like a wallet, a warm or a hot wallet on crypto.com. I mean, me personally, I would transfer them to a cold storage wallet. I use you got a 12 key password. Is that a physical? Is that like a hard wallet that you have, or is it on like a MetaMask or a Trust wallet? I'm not really sure. Can't remember all the different wallets that are out there right now.
Crypto.com has their own wallet.
Yeah.
And they can transfer to and from their regular.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think you're fine for now, but I think you're fine. But me personally, I would move it to a cold storage wallet if you're holding it for the long-term growth. And I personally use Decent. There's a lot of them out there. Someone said Bitcoin is back up to 83.9. Yeah, guys, this is when you're on the lower time frames, every little move looks like a big one. But as you can see, we did not hold above this line yet. It wicked above it, but that doesn't really mean anything yet. If you go into our group and you go to official links, I do have a link somewhere here for Decent. You can use my referral link if you want, or you can just go, Google them. You don't have to use my referral link, but this is the one I use, cold storage. It's a physical hard wallet, biometric, uses your thumbprint and password and a 24 word seed phrase. And of course, you have an app that you can go on and see your wallet. You can see your holdings, but you can't deposit, withdraw, transfer, or do anything without syncing your hard wallet, the device, the physical device, with the app by using your thumbprint and a password. And it's very safe. It's very secure. It's one of the better ones out there. I like it. I've been using it for a while now. So that's a choice for you. But there's other ones. There's Trezor. There's all kinds of them out there. You don't need to use what I'm using. That's just what I'm using right now. But I also have Coinbase and I also have crypto.com. So in total transparency, I use all of them, but I just don't leave a lot on centralized exchanges. All right, BA, have a good day, buddy. All right, guys. Emmanuel says, Niko, would you stake any XRP during this downward trend? Where do you have staking options for XRP? I know you can. I just don't know where. I think it's Uphold. There's some exchanges out there that allow you to do it, but you could stake. Yeah, you could stake, buy more. Yeah, I remember Nexus. And Nexo also. Nexo you could borrow against.
Hey, right. Niko, sorry I missed a bunch, but where's your stop on XRP? I'm in the same exact position with pretty much the same exact loss as you right now.
Yeah, my loss is getting better. I'm only
right. I'm down to $182 loss.
Yeah, me too. $176. It seems to be less negative right now, but I have a feeling this is temporary, guys. I have a feeling that Bitcoin is going to drop more, and that's going to bring everything with it a little bit more. So what do we have? We XRP is bouncing on this downward trending support line from the falling wedge. So if I just zoom out here, you can see. Let me go to a higher time frame. It's easier to see. So we have this overall falling wedge inside this giant downward trending channel. Falling wedge. This green line right here. And we hit the bottom of it. But you notice the last time we hit the bottom, or the first time we hit the bottom of it, we came to the top of it. And then we fell further down. We bounced and we fell and hit it again. We went sideways, we fell and hit it again. We went up and went sideways, hit the top again, fell down to the bottom again. So as of right now, guys, we are in a downward trending falling wedge. So even if we go up a little bit, hopefully we'll get into profit up here. But if we hit this side over here and we don't break out, then we could fall down lower again. It just depends. I mean, if Bitcoin continues its downward trend, then that's probably what's going to happen. So, and then if you really zoom out and look at the overall downward trending channel that we've been in for a while, this whited out area here, we're still in the middle of it. So in order to break out of that, XRP would literally need to break out of this downward trending falling wedge, break above the floor again, and get above, I don't know what just happened there. It would have to break out of this, break above this, break above this, and break above this overall channel, which would be up in the $2.10 range. So it's got a ways to go. And since it's correlating with Bitcoin, you know, I'm not so sure we're not in for a little bit more down. I'm not 100% sure yet, guys. I mean, I would have to see it break out. So this little uptick right now that we're seeing on the lower time frames is great. This little curve right here. But just if you zoom out, you can really see that it really is still got a long way to go to break out. Otherwise, we're still downward trending. So this is where I think some of you get freaked out. And you're like, oh, it's going up. Oh, I'm going negative. I'm going to get out. And you get out of loss. But then you zoom out and see that we're still downward trending. And end of day today, it might be down further. We don't know. Right?
Quick question. You're halfway through the channel, the blue dotted line. Is that going to create the resistance point as well?
It very well could, yes. So we were holding on the centered line here. We wicked below it a couple times, held on it, and then fell below. And it certainly could become resistance, and it would look like this. It would come up to this, maybe go sideways, and hit the blue line right there at the same juncture as the top of the downward trending resistance, and then possibly fall lower. So yeah, we could. I mean, we hit, and let's just make sure I got the blue line in the exact right spot. Top, bottom, we have the middle. Let me just pull this down a little bit, because I want to touch all these touch points at the bottom. And as you can see, we did hit a resistance here. We did hit a resistance. So hitting the bottom of this channel, coming up and basically bouncing on resistance. And then there's some times back here where we hit it. It was support, breakthrough, resistance, breakthrough, support, resistance. So the center line does hold some resistance and support, resistance and support. And so we hit it as resistance right here. Let me move this green line. We hit it right there, boom. And then we broke through, and then we hold it as support, breakthrough, coming up maybe for resistance. So I could see us pumping right up to that line, which is this green line right here, which was support down here, support over here at the $1.80. And it would just be right where that blue line is too. It doesn't even have to come all the way over here to hit the blue line. It could go right up and hit it right here and then fall back below.
Niko, quick question. Just wondering, and I'm sure a lot of other people are, why hasn't XRP decoupled from Bitcoin, considering all the developments with the banking industry and implementation and all that?
Yeah, it's just those things are not actually in play yet. I mean, the banks were waiting for the Clarity Act to pass. The financial institutions are probably all sitting there with their finger on the trigger to pull the button or pull the lever to make the big switch. But I think the fact that it hasn't yet means that things are not ready yet. And who knows? Maybe they're like, oh, we're gonna buy $3 billion worth of XRP. Should we wait for it to get down to $1.50 first? Or can we manipulate the market and get it down to $1.50 first before we buy? Because if we buy $1 billion worth of XRP at $1.50, instead of buying it at $1.80, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Extra.
Yeah.
So obviously they would rather buy it at a lower price and cause pain and get more people to get out of the market if they're manipulating. If they're not manipulating and they don't care about that difference, buying it at $1.80 or $1.50, if they don't care about that 30-cent difference, which can you imagine? What's 30% of $1 billion?
Sure.
300 million. So it's like, is that are they in business to make money or not? Yes. So, of course they want to buy on the low, but there does come a time when they just have to buy and move money in. And do they care if some of us get rich along the way? Do they care that there's a lot of retail traders and a lot of investors out there like us that just are sitting on 10,000, 20,000 XRP, 50,000, 100,000 XRP? To them, that's minuscule in comparison. Even if XRP shoots to $1,000, and let's just say you happen to have 50,000 of it, 50,000 XRP, and it goes to $1,000. Whoops.
Glad to hear from my dick, sir.
That's 50 million bucks. So you might think you're super rich, and you are technically. That is considered richy rich for the average person, but to the institutions, that's nothing. They can handle a few people getting that rich. Not only that, but the financial institutions are going to be the one managing your money when you get that rich anyway. So the way they look at it is you're probably going to need them to set up structures or help you with it, or you're going to just go out and spend it and sell it. And guess who's going to buy it back from you anyway? So they don't worry about a handful of people getting rich. And it really is a handful of people if you compare how many wallets exist. There's like 500,000 wallets. There's 1 million wallets, but half of them are owned by the same people. So there's 500,000 individual people that are owning any XRP. And the majority of those people have like $200 worth or less. And then you got a handful of people, maybe 1% of that 500,000, it has like 5,000 XRP or more. And then as you go up, less and less people have more and more and more. So, it's just the way it is. There's always going to be some people that get rich on these big, front running the institutions and the banks, but, they're not concerned about those few that actually just happen to be positioned well, in my opinion. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know why or when it's actually going to decouple, but when it does, you will know, because it'll be price appreciation very quickly, probably about I would say a minimum of 7x right out of the gate, which would bring us up to about 14 bucks, 15 bucks on XRP.
That would be great.
I agree.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. A lot has to go in. Billions have to pour in for that to happen, but it's not going to be regular institutional investors like us. It's going to be, it's not going to be retail traders like us. It's going to be institutions. And once that happens, that causes a domino effect in the other direction. People start to see price appreciation and they start to run to buy it. And then when they start buying it on the retail markets like Coinbase, and Coinbase's liquidity starts running out, the price appreciates even more drastic, faster. It's like a domino effect in the upward direction, right? And then it becomes unavailable and the price shoots to the moon. And so that's when it becomes rarer and rarer. And those of us who already have it, it's like the music stops, musical chairs, music stops. We sit down. Whoever doesn't have a seat, screwed. They didn't buy any. They didn't get in, right? And yeah, you'll be glad you have a lot of it, right? Hayes, 8 billion people and only 500,000 XRP wallets, and that sounds like a lot, but it's like what, 0.0011%. It's like hardly anybody in the grand scheme of things. So, all right, guys, oh shit. I'm sorry. Let me just look at my calendar real quick. I think I have a call. I might have somebody waiting for me, but maybe not. Hopefully not. $2:30. All right. I got a little bit of time. So I got to get ready for a call coming up here in 20 minutes, but Victoria, you're getting your little pump that you need. Okay, good. I wouldn't necessarily get out if XRP just hits your break even, but it does have to get above a certain level. If it doesn't get above a certain level, it could come down further after that. But yeah, if you want to get out at break even, that at least you won't lose money. But also don't get so greedy that you are not willing to take a tiny little loss, because if it gets close to your break even and you just want to get out, you can do that too, but you might regret it if it just keeps going up, right? So never stop something coming your way that's in your favor. So in other words, if here's your break even and the price is coming up to your break even, you don't want to stop it if it's going up, right? And then it gets right into profit. That's not the time to close the trade out. You want to see how high it's going to go first. If it keeps going up, you want to stay in that, obviously. So don't just get out at break even unless it hits your break even and you're at 180, $1.80, and it or 80, yeah, and it finds resistance there and it bounces, starts to come back down, then you might want to just close the trade. All right, guys. Let's see. I think I've covered everything today. We are basically in just downward trending. We're going into a weekend. Generally speaking, that sometimes is also compounding the bearishness. Usually going into Sunday, going into the weekend. But you know, anything could happen, guys. That we do have some news. We do have the president who's likely to get on the microphone sometimes and say something crazy, which could cause a pump or a dump, right? So don't be overly, you know, emotional about any of these changes, these little moves that are happening. XRP seems to be pumping. Bitcoin, my short is, my short on Bitcoin is losing profit, but I'm still in it. Real quick, let me just show you this. I'm still in it for the time being because I moved my stop loss way into profit and I'm giving it some room in case we continue. XRP pumped up to $1.70. If I zoom, you'll see we wick down below this all the way down to $1.65. And yeah, we could be coming up, but for how far? I think if we get to this $1.80, which would put me in profit, I am not going to just get out. I want to see if it goes up higher and goes all the way up to the top of this. Now, if it goes up to the top of this and it hits that and starts to come back down, I might close it out and take the profit and maybe short up here. But I don't think I'm going to short XRP ever. The reason why is because XRP could decouple anytime, and I'd rather be in a long if that happens. So I'd rather just re-enter. If it comes up here and bounces and starts to come down, I will get out of my long, take my little profit, and wait. If it comes back down here, then I will go long again at a much lower price. The only reason I went long here is because it was bouncing on $1.80, which was a major support level. And then it went through here and held as resistance, which is not good. So we could be coming up to retest resistance and fall further, but I'm going to wait and see on that. That's just a wait and see, guys. That's what I call it, a wait and see. It's nothing to get all worked up over. It's nothing to panic about. You're just waiting and seeing. And Bitcoin is doing the similar thing. Bitcoin is pumping back up to possibly just to retest this downward trending channel. And is it retesting the previous? Might even be retesting the previous support and resistance level almost. So on the hourly, it could be even forming what looks like a possible cup, but it would have to break out of this downward trending channel to the upside. And why would it? Well, we did bounce here at 80K. That's a nice little bounce. In fact, the last time we bounced at 80K, look what happened. We bounced and we pumped all the way up to 94K. That was a big pump up after we dropped look at how big the drop was all the way to 80K. We were up here, guys, at 107 and we dropped all the way to 80K and bounced. And what did we just do? We were up here again at 97 and we dropped all the way to 80K and we're bouncing. So it's possible we could get a nice big bounce out of this and we could actually start to come back up. That is certainly possible. But while we're in the downward trending channel, I'm going to hold tight. As you can see, I do have my stop loss right here at 84, just in case it does finally break out. I could have closed the trade down here with a much bigger gain, but I still think we got some downward trending to go, unfortunately. Let me just draw another trend line here and see what this looks like. We did break out of this. We could be coming to retest that as well. All kinds of ways to see. We take all this away. Let's take this away. That was where it broke out from. Let's take all these little stair steps away, guys. Let's take this downward ladder away. And what did we just do? We were in an upward trending channel, which was a big bear flag. We broke through the bottom of it, retested, dropped, retested, dropped. So we technically were in another downward trending channel. We had a couple touch points at the top, 2 at the bottom. We broke through the bottom and we retested and dropped. And then we're coming up to retest. So are we going to break back above this line? Get back into that channel? And if so, will it be temporary? Could we get up here, work our way back up, and then hit that, and then come back down again? Sure. Lots of things, lots of ways to look at it. But the fact that we dropped so far below this support and we're coming up to retest it, I'm curious to see if we get through it or not. I'm going to put all this stuff back for now, just in case we stay in a downward trending. Falling channel. So I will keep you posted, guys. I will post any changes I see if I get out of anything, or if I get it back in, set a, give a new signal or anything, I will let you know. I know Marcus, you probably, if Marcus, you're still on, you probably went short when I said short here. Now you're already negative right here.
No, I didn't. I actually, I'm waiting. I was looking at the RSI and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give it a little time. So
yeah, smart. Yeah, I would say that the best time to short is when it's retesting the top of the downward trending channel, because I always short the tops. I never long the bottoms.
So overall, Niko, if you're not in a trade right now, just sit and wait.
Yeah, I would see if we retest here and we can't hold, we can't get above it, and we start to drop again below this level here, we might hug the bottom of this downward trending channel. I would wait. Another thing you could wait for is just to see if we get below 80. If we get below 80 here, which was the low here, you see that low? Boom, we hit 80,600. If we come back down and retest it, or we get below that into the 79K range, and we actually hold in the 70s as resistance. In other words, we come down, break below 80, and retest as resistance, and we can't get back above it. That's a great short entry, because then we will be dropping. Once psychologically the masses see 70K, 70s, you're going to see lots of shorts come in. You're going to see lots of dumping. It might even be a quick wick all the way down.
Okay, thanks, Niko.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Niko, got a quick functional question.
Yes.
You say you wouldn't short your XRP. Is that just because it's in USDC? But if you were in USDT, you would short?
No. I mean, I'm not trading on USDC. I don't ever trade on USDC. USDC and USDT are pretty much the same. Those are stable coins. Trading, you can short. You can short. The reason why I'm not shorting is because I'm in a coin margin. So I'm trading on an XRP margin, which means that if I win or lose, I'm losing or winning XRP. So I don't want to short XRP not because I can't make more XRP on the way down. If it goes down, I can make more XRP, just like I'm shorting Bitcoin. But it's because I think that at any time XRP could decouple and break away from XRP and shoot up, even while Bitcoin is going down. So I just rather be in a long position on XRP, because I'm hopeful that XRP finally does break out and does 7x, multiple X up instead of down. But while it is correlating with Bitcoin, it could continue down, and shorting is okay if you know what you're doing. I have shorted it. And by the way, if you were shorting XRP all the way since up here, you'd have a lot more XRP, right? If you're shorting on XRP margin. So you can do well on it, but I tend to want to long the bottoms. And so since we were hitting the bottom here of this downward trending falling wedge, I longed it. I longed the bottom. And that's why my entry is here. I was up pretty high here until it fell with Bitcoin's big drop. It fell, came back down to break even, and then it dropped below. So then I went negative. But if we can get back above $1.80, I think that XRP could break out. But until it stops correlating with Bitcoin, it could see further dropping. I just went long because it was bouncing on this major. And now I was also short Bitcoin when it happened. So I also looked at it as a hedge because I know XRP correlates with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin continues down and I'm in a long on XRP and I'm short on Bitcoin, then I can't lose because I will make money on my short on Bitcoin. I will lose money on my XRP long, but I will make up for it on my short on Bitcoin. That's like a hedge. It's like betting in both directions at the same time.
I got you.
I do that. You can also hedge with Bitcoin on USDT or XRP on USDT. You can go long and short at the same time. I just don't because I don't, I'm not trying to make USDT. I'm trying to accumulate more crypto.
Is there anything out there that references a decoupling anytime soon, relatively speaking?
Yeah, we've been talking about that numerous times. I think that question was asked a few times. It's when the institutions flip the switch. It's when all the banking institutions, the financial institutions, the SWIFT networks, and all the different settlement agencies flip the switch and start using Ripple as their settlement blockchain. And from what I understand, they're all in place to do it. It just hasn't been done yet. By the way, they've been testing it for like a year. So they've been doing it. They've just been testing small amounts here and there to get all the bugs worked out. And I think it's ready anytime now. And from what I understood, they're waiting for the Clarity Act to be passed and to get more clarity. And once they feel comfortable that that's going to be the direction and where things are going, then they will all pile in with billions. And I think that that's all what we're waiting for. So that's why I'd rather be safer. I'd rather be long on XRP because if the switch does get flipped, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it could be any moment, could be imminently, right? I would just rather be in a long. It would be fun to wake up one day and be, have XRP at $4, $5, $6, $10, $15, and you were in a long with, 8,000 contracts because then you just made 10,000 more XRP and now it's worth $5 each, right? So, I like the thought of that. And that's only if it only goes to 14, 15 bucks, imagine, or $5. Imagine if it goes to 100. And by the way, people say, well, is that really logical? Could that really happen? Is that feasible? Yes. Okay. I'll show you one more thing before I wrap it up here. I got 5 minutes. Let me just go over here and show you Bitcoin. Let's go back to when Bitcoin was $1.80 right here. No, not there. Sorry. Right here.
Have you ever used the log scale? When you go back really far, it kind of flattens it out a little.
Yeah, I think this is the log scale right here. Logarithmic. But right here, guys, look at this. This is Bitcoin. Right here, it was $1.73, just like XRP. And look at this big drop. People were scared. It was all the way up here at $31. It went down to $1.80. People were getting out and selling. And it went from $1.80 to $7.27 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Pretty quickly. Now, that's not something, by the way. It went from, once it hit $7 here, it went from $7 to $258 only like 3 months later. And then all the way up to $1,195. So that would be like XRP going from $1.70 to $1,000 inside of a year.
Yeah.
And to say it can't happen, it does happen. It did happen. When use case, and by the way, XRP could do it much faster because when use case is different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's speculative. People are buying it and hoping that other people buy it to get the price to go up, whereas XRP will be bought by the institutions and the banks and the governments of the world, and it will force appreciation drastically and much quicker. So I would be excited about it if I were you. I think it's inevitable. Ripple stablecoin competing with XRP. Can't happen, Joe. I don't even understand the conversation. Stablecoin is a stablecoin. It's pegged to the dollar. It requires XRP, the Ripple network. You're talking about the settlement. If they use the Ripple stablecoin as the settlement, it still would require XRP to be a certain price to handle it all. So
yeah, I just saw an article, and that's my concern. There is just people, old ladies getting scared with seeing stuff like that in the.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's my only concern.
The craziness and the conflict in the information that's out there is
it's absurd.
It's crazy. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about too much. I think that, I mean, if you watch the developers of XRP talk, you watch Brad Garlinghouse, you watch the CEO, you talk about all the developers, you should follow them all on X or whatever. You'll see they're pouring billions of dollars into infrastructure for a reason. XRP is the token. It's just I think it's gonna be the one. But yeah, anything could happen, guys. Anything could happen. Trump could come out with the Trump stable coin, put his name on it. Or the government could say, you know what, Ripple is the top platform, the top exchange, the top blockchain, the top technology, and just take it over and buy it. The government would just take over Ripple and pay, and anybody who has XRP would have to turn it into the government. The government would be a forced buyback, right? Anybody know if that's ever happened before? Yes, happened.
Absolutely.
Happened with gold.
Gold.
Go ahead.
What about Billy talking about Optio going toe to toe with XRP? How do you figure that plays?
I don't know why, I mean, he's totally, I think Billy he's thinking about the use case of Optio in regards to how the price can appreciate based on the ecosystem that Optio and Parler and all that has in place. But I don't think that's going to be, worldwide use case. Could it go to $1 or $5? Yeah. But I think, if that happens, XRP, they're not competing against each other. They're being used for two totally different things. It's like Facebook coming out with its own crypto and allowing you to buy things or on Facebook and using their own token. Could that go to $20 or $30 or $50? Yeah. I mean, it's an ecosystem type of token that could have huge price appreciation depending on the liquidity, the liquidity of it and the demand for it. But XRP, let me just put it this way. If XRP was the one being used for the world's financial networks, not just some of it, but all of it, and there would be a $500 trillion market cap. XRP would be $100,000 for XRP. And is that possible to happen? Well, I mean, it happened to Bitcoin. Did anybody think when Bitcoin went from $1.70 to $1,000? I mean, you would have got super rich if you had 10,000 or 20,000 Bitcoin at the time, but you would become ridiculously rich if it went to $100,000, right? So these people that have 1,000 Bitcoins at $1.20 and they put $1,000 into it, it's worth $100 million at $100,000, 1,000 Bitcoins. So, but yeah, the market cap would have to be a lot higher for XRP, but at the same token, no pun intended, there is the burn rate on XRP. Bitcoin doesn't have a burn rate. There's always going to be 21 million Bitcoin, but there's not going to always be a billion XRP. The amount of XRP in existence will continue to go down and down and down over time. So that's forced price appreciation over time. Wow. I don't have any more time to talk about it. I got a call to get on right now, but I will put, there is a video from Tom Lee I wanted to share with you guys. I'll find it and I'll share it. I think that this will help you really understand really the big picture of XRP better. But the Ripple network, I don't think Ripple's going to do anything with all of these agencies without XRP being involved. But even though they do have a stable coin, but it's tied to XRP, all the other cryptos, Yeah, Mike. I mean, I'm long on XRP, but I'm also holding a lot of it. I'm not just trading it. I'm also sitting and hodling a lot of it as well. I'm not even risking trading the majority of my XRP. Just buying it and holding it. Right now it moves with Bitcoin, but it's not going to always. It's going to decouple eventually. All right, guys, I got to run, but stay tuned. And if you have any questions, ask it in the main chat. Otherwise, be tuned into my Signal channel. If I see any changes on XRP or Bitcoin or anything, I will definitely make a note of it and post it in that channel. And I will see you. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow if I see any big changes happen. If I think anything's important to talk about, I'll either go live, I'll post it in the group, or I'll just upload a video of my thoughts. But as of right now, we are still downward trending on both Bitcoin and XRP, even though we might get little pumps here and there. Just keep in mind that the overall structure that we're in is still downward trending. We'd have to break out of that to have a trend reversal. So hang tight, be positive. Yes, definitely stock up on XRP in my opinion, even Bitcoin, because as Bitcoin price drops, these are just better buying opportunities, but I think Bitcoin will be $1 million someday. It's just that it could go to 70 first. That's all. XRP could be $1,000 in the near future, but it might drop to $1.50 first. I don't know. So don't worry about that. If you're in for the long term, just keep buying at the lower prices. All right, guys, have a great weekend. I will see you on the next calls, and I will see you in the chat. If I have any updates, I'll put it in the Discord channel.